It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
And thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. Here it is, the first of the playoff matches in our elementary competition. We have 32 elementary schools. We started out with just 4, and the winners of the first 2 games are here today to decide who moves on to the semifinals. So we're welcoming first today our team from Montpelier. And let's say hi to everybody. Assad, could you wave to everybody, please? Hey, Assad. 4th grader here, great young guy. And Riley has got the spirit. He's a 4th grader as well. And someone who wasn't here before, but we welcome her to the program, Amelia. Amelia, welcome to the show. She is also a 4th grader. And guys, you did so well last time, so keep up that momentum here. Keep it going, all right? Keep it going. You know, for those of you just tuning in, of course, we are now on Zoom because schools are not in session in schools. All of our students are home safely. I'm here in the TV studio with the familiar Science Bowl board behind me here. No buzzers here. We have nobody pushing buzzers, so we're giving students questions just for themselves, 18 in all, and the team with the highest points at the end will be the winner, moving on to the semifinals. Teams should get 50 points just for showing up. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. One thing we have preserved, and that is the list of categories, that we use here on Science Bowl traditionally. And here they are.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's science potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
All right, Montpelier, let's get started. We have 3 questions for you in the green things category. One worth 5, one worth 15, one worth 25 points. And here we go. Oh, you're going to get this one. I know you are. Doctors now say that you'll live longer and healthier if you eat lots of a chemical called capsaicin, often found in these red hot vegetables.
Red hot vegetables.
Peppers?
Yeah, what kind of peppers?
I'm thinking like bell peppers. Like bell peppers.
Yeah, we'll take peppers. Chili peppers is what we're actually waiting for, but peppers is acceptable. You'll get your 5 points. Next, some Christmas trees that have sharp needles are pines, P-I-N-E-S. Others with soft needles are these kinds of conifers that sound like the warm covering found on mammals like cats, but are spelled differently. Think about what a cat has on it to keep it warm, and the name of that is a homonym. It is spelled differently from the kinds of trees, Christmas trees, that have soft needles.
I'm thinking like a cat has fur, so then...
You got it, Riley. A fir is F-U-R, and the fir tree is F-I-R. Nicely played, young man. Let's go to the 25-point question in green things. Do you guys ever eat Jell-O? You know, that wiggly dessert? You know, if you're ever putting fruit into Jell-O, don't use pineapples. They contain some of these E-initialed chemicals that will break down the proteins and prevent the Jell-O from setting. An E-initialed kind of chemical that will break down the proteins. An E-initialed chemical. What do you think? Called enzymes. Those are chemicals that are used oftentimes in digestion, helping our food to break down. All right, let's move on to the zoo parade category. For 5 points. A certain kind of wasp, a parasitic wasp, this is like a horror story, sneaks up and lays its eggs on the head of a cockroach. It then turns the cockroach into a kind of living dead insect, otherwise known as what kind of living dead thing?
Assad, do you have any ideas?
Say it again.
Assad, do you have any ideas?
Zombie?
That's it. It's a zombie. It's a zombie cockroach. It kind of moves along. It doesn't have control of itself anymore. It has been zombified by that wasp. Thank you, Assad. Let's go on to the 15-point question in the zoo. One of the winners of a photography contest this year, sponsored by Nikon, was a shot of developing embryos of this fish that can live among sea anemones unharmed and was popularized by one named Nemo.
A clownfish? Is it
Clownfish is right. Yeah, that's it. 15 points. Go to 25 points. I have a picture for you. You're going good. Keep it up. I want you to look at this picture. Walking shrimp from Thailand, like this one, it's on land there. Keep in mind, shrimp normally live underwater. They leave the safety of the water to move to an area where the current isn't so strong and they won't get swept away. How do they stay alive? They stay near the splash zone. So water still flows over them, letting them get water under their shells so they can breathe through their what?
I'm thinking like gills.
Gills is right. You got it, Riley. 25 points. He's the man. Good. Let's go to the body system questions. 3 of them for you before we take our first break. 5 points. When he laughs, this organ of Santa Claus's is said to shake like a bowl full of jelly.
Like I'm thinking like a. It's gotta be like it's a body system. Something like a When you laugh, it's like you get like a funny bone. That's what I'm thinking.
Usually it's in your throat.
When he laughs, this organ of Santa's is said to shake like a bowl full of jelly. Ho, 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 ho. It's his stomach that goes up and down. A bowl full of jelly. All right, let's go to 15 points for you. While different varieties of some viruses, we're all talking about viruses today because of COVID. While different varieties of viruses like hepatitis are alphabetized, like hepatitis A and B and C, different stages of cancer and the different kinds of diabetes are not alphabetized. Rather, the different ones are, you can tell the difference by putting what after them? Not a letter, but a what?
I'm thinking like a number.
A number is right, yes. Type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, stage 1, stage 2 cancer. Good answer. We have one more. You get a chance to earn 25 more points. Here you go. For 25 points, this organ, which is attached to your large intestine, although it continues to get smaller and smaller with each new generation, it was long thought to be useless, a leftover from a long time ago. Now we think it's helping to fight infections.
Appendix.
Points.
The appendix.
The appendix, absolutely right. You got yourself 25 points. Absolutely right. Thank you, Assad. Good answer, which means you end this first round with a whopping 155 points. You guys are on a roll. Congratulate yourselves. And it is now time to meet the team from Templeton. They, too, have won their first game, and they're here today to decide if they will move on. If they win this game, they will move on to the April 7th semifinals. They're a tough team, and you're going to see how good they are in just a moment. Let's meet them right now. Let's say hello to the team from Templeton. Say hi, please, to Simon. Simon waved everybody. And David. Hey, David. And Ugoma. Nice to see you. All right. You guys did so well last time. As with all of our teams, you start out with 50 points just for looking so good here. No penalties for incorrect answers. If you're ready, here are your 9 questions. First from Green Things for 5 points. Here we go. From a plant's perspective, forest fires aren't all bad. Some pine trees actually depend on the heat to explode their cones and thus release their what?
Seeds, because the cones have seeds.
Seeds is right. Good answer. 5 points. Good way to start the game. Next, this green thing was Tarzan's favored mode of transportation. And before Instagram was the favorite way to gossip, as in, I heard it through the grape what?
Palm tree, because we like
vines because
vine.
Tarzan goes on vines.
I heard it through the grapevine. That's right. And Tarzan goes swinging through the trees on the vines. And yeah, if he's not careful, he smashes into a tree like George of the Jungle. Okay, here we go for 25 points in green things. Long dead plant materials, all called carbohydrates, do, under pressure and heat, turn into coal and oil after many years. At which point they become what kind of H-initialed chemicals that sound like carbohydrates spelled backwards. Carbohydrates, like plants, eventually become these H-initialed chemicals like coal and oil.
So H initial was like the big clue right there. So, but I don't know.
But it starts with H.
So what do you think, David, or you guys can
Is
go?
it probably hydrogen?
I was thinking, I don't know, but I kind of got it. I was thinking of something, but it's not the answer because isn't that like fossil fuels when they go there?
I like what Ugoma is doing there. She's transposing the words. She's putting hydrates at the beginning and carbo at the end. They're called hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons. That is what carbohydrates become. That was a good attempt. Let's move on to the zoo for 5 points. Ink, I-N-K, is a TV show all about tattoos. But if ink were about animals, the show would be about these cephalopods that use ink in their defense.
Is it octopus?
Octopus is right, or squids. You got it. 5 points. Terrific. How many of you have a dog at home? Anybody have a dog? Well, even if you don't have a dog, you'll be able to answer this for 15 points. A dog's name often tells you exactly what it's been bred to do. Like German shepherds, they shepherd sheep. Irish elk hounds hunt elk. And renowned as America's favorite breed that brings back ducks that are shot by hunters is the Labrador what?
Retriever. I think it's the Labrador.
Retriever is right. The Labrador Retriever. Labs is correct. Good answer, David. For 25 points, there's a visual question for you. Look at the picture. A man in Baltimore just came up with a new mask for COVID that he called by the name of this one-horned whale that's called the unicorn of the sea. What N-initialed sea mammal are you looking at?
A narwhal.
A narwhal is right. Yes, indeed. Has a distinctive look. Let's move on to the body. You're doing so well. For 5 points. The new television comedy called Be Positive is all about a woman giving up one of these paired renal organs to a long-lost classmate. She's going to donate a what to him?
He's gonna do it.
Kidney.
He's had two of them.
Say it again.
Kidney.
Kidney is right. Yep. For 15 points. Sadly, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek and Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away recently from cancer that affected this organ, the one responsible for regulating your body's sugar with its insulin hormone.
Pancreas.
Pancreas is right. 25 points. After centuries of doctors listening to a person's heart and lungs by putting an ear to the person's chest, in 1816, finally this medical instrument was invented with two earpieces. Can you name it?
I know it looks
Isn't
like
it the stethoscope? I think
Stethoscope. It's a stethoscope.
It is a stethoscope. Beautiful. Thank you, Ugoma. You got yourself 25 points, and your team really did well in this first half. And you're now at 160. Way to go. All right, it is now time to find out a little bit more about the Montpelier team. And guys, you're already stars. People have seen you on TV and on the web because you won your first game. But for people tuning in for the first time, let's fill them in about your story here. Tell us the Assad story. Tell me what it is you like to do in your spare time when you're not studying.
I might go outside, like play in my backyard, or I might read a book, and then or I might watch TV.
Yeah, sounds like normal kid stuff. Are there any kinds of books in particular that you like to read, Assad?
Well, I kind of like Narnia.
The Narnia series? Absolutely right. Those are great books. Those are great books. You're doing a nice job here, young man. Let's meet your teammates here. Let's find out about Riley. Riley, come on back. Riley, boy, you have been burning up the ropes here. You know your stuff. How do you know so much science?
Well, it's all been because from the past Mr. Patiri has been doing variable training sessions, and
So you've been practicing a lot, huh?
yep, and most of the stuff I knew what you were talking about.
Wow, wow. Well, you're obviously a great student, and so have you always wanted to be on the Science Bowl?
Yes, I've always been wanting to.
And here
I've
you are.
always been wondering what the Science Bowl was, how to get in it, like that.
Wow. And here you are. Your dream is realized, and I'm sorry it's by Zoom, but you know, you'll always be able to look back and say, you know, I was on Science Bowl the year they had it on Zoom. Very few people will be able to say that. You're doing so well. Let's talk to the new member of your team, Amelia. Amelia, welcome to the show. Tell us your story. Why are you here? Why did you want to do this?
Because I always liked science.
Yeah. And do you see yourself doing something with science professionally someday in a job?
Thank you.
Wonderful. And do you think maybe you'd like to be a scientist or a doctor or something someday?
Yeah, I want to be a doctor.
Doctor, that's great. Well, this is a good way to start. And you're showing people, you've taken the challenge, and you're letting people see how much you studied, and you're doing all the right things. And we're happy you're with us today. All right, you're welcome. Let's go now and get you back here to the gallery view and start asking you your final 9 questions. We've done our first 3 categories. Now we move on to Let's Get Physical for 5 points. The water droplets in the sky after a rainstorm that refract light to make a rainbow, or just like what piece of glass that breaks up white light into colors the same way?
I'm thinking like a prism,
Maybe a
It
diamond.
is a prism. It is a prism, absolutely. Riley, he continues to amaze. Physical for 15 points. It was Galileo who first observed that the planet Venus goes through what same changes that the moon does, thus appearing to have different shapes in the night sky depending on the day of the month. Just as the moon goes through these changes known as what, so too does the planet Venus.
Solar eclipse.
Oh, don't you remember? Remember the sun rises in the west and it sets in the east.
Solar eclipse.
Assad, what are you saying? I can't hear you.
Phases.
No, it goes through phases. Like the moon has phases, like first quarter, second quarter, new moon, full moon. Those are the different phases. Try this next one for 25 points. To determine how old the Earth really is, scientists had to wait until they discovered that certain chemical elements that give off gamma rays, because they are in this R-initialed state, decay at a predictable rate. Chemical elements like plutonium and uranium and radium are all in what R-initialed state because they give off gamma rays.
Maybe it's Russia.
Radioactive.
Right.
Radioactive.
That's it. That's it. It is radioactive. Thank you, Assad. See, you take the time, you digest all those clues, and you come up with answers. You're a great captain. Let's go on to the potpourri. How many of you have ever seen the the movie Alice in Wonderland or read the book? If you did, in Alice in Wonderland, the evil Queen of Hearts played croquet by turning these pink birds upside down and using them as mallets. Birds the same color as Amelia's blouse there.
Butterfly.
Flamingos was the answer. Flamingos, with their curved beaks, and she'd turn them upside down and use their heads to hit them. She was cruel. That was cruelty to animals. Here's a multiple choice question for you in potpourri. Would you take melatonin, spelled M-E-L-A-T-O-N-I-N, melatonin? Would you take melatonin if you had a bad cold, if you had an upset stomach, or if you wanted to get to sleep faster?
If you want to go to sleep faster.
So if
Say it again, Assad.
If you want to go to sleep faster.
All right, and Amelia, what were you saying?
I said sleep. Yeah, sleep.
Sleep is the correct answer. Good answer. You got yourself those 15 points. Here's the 25-point question in potpourri. I know you've heard this word. It's a big word. It's used a lot, especially around computers. The sets of rules and procedures telling a computer how to solve problems, like how an app can find the best route to a destination, is what a initialed word named for an ancient Persian mathematician.
Algorithm.
It is algorithm. Boy, I can't fool you. That was absolutely right. That's a fantastic answer, Assad. Correct. It is an algorithm. Let's go to Dateline for your final 3 questions. For 5 points, there's a visual. Look at the picture, please. The amount of vaccine in a syringe, like you see here, varies based on age. Children get smaller doses, adults more. But the dose is always measured in units, abbreviated ml. Small m, big L. What does ml stand for 5 points?
I'm thinking like millimeters.
Not millimeters, I'm afraid it's milliliters. Milliliters, okay, because it's volume, not distance. That's why it's ml. Try the 15-point question, multiple choice. The belief that the Earth was the center of the solar system and not the sun can be blamed on what ancient Greek who was eventually proved wrong by Copernicus? Are we going to blame Archimedes, Aristotle, or Plato? Who said the Earth was the center of everything in the solar system? Archimedes, Aristotle, or Plato?
I think Archimedes.
Archimedes was the one who actually was in the bathtub and saw all the water flow over and figured out about the displacement of water and ran naked through the streets screaming Eureka. The answer there was Aristotle. Aristotle was revered for many years, but he was proven wrong. Here's your last question for 25 points, another multiple choice. Now, this will let me know if you've been watching the news, especially about the astronauts who just went up to the International Space Station. The 4 astronauts aboard the Dragon capsule that took them to the International Space Station renamed their Dragon capsule. Which of the following? Resilience, perseverance, or determination? Resilience, perseverance, or determination?
Resilience.
It is resilience. Absolutely right. You got yourself 25 points. Assad, you are the man. That means takes your score to 250. Amazing game. Amazing game. Time now to find out a little bit more about our team from Templeton. And you might have seen them before here, but if you missed them the first time, that was your loss because they're a great team. Let's have them tell you a little bit about who they are. Let's go first to Simon. Simon, tell us the Simon story. What is it that you do when you're not studying and preparing for Science Bowl?
I usually just play video games on like different PCs, but I also like to go outside and take in the view. And I also like to take naps in between the Science Bowls a lot.
And power naps are proven to be a great restorer. So a power nap is a great thing. They say no more than 20 minutes, because after 20 minutes, you just got to get too groggy. So thanks for that recommendation. Let's talk to your teammates there. David, you were so good in that last game. You've been so good so far this time. And tell me where you're sitting there. Is that your living room or your bedroom, can I ask?
No, this is the basement. It's the only quiet place I could find.
You needed a place to be, a television studio where it's nice and quiet. Well, you succeeded. It's a nice looking place. David, what do you do when you're not studying?
When I'm not studying, I usually eat or watch TV, and I like drawing a lot. That's what I usually do in my free time.
Yeah, it's a good creative outlet. You know, drawing, any kind of art, you know, is a way to express yourself. And you're a very talented young guy. I'm not surprised that you have multiple talents in addition to being a great science student here, Dave. And let's talk to your last teammate here, Ugoma. I was mentioning, Ugoma, that you had told us on a previous program that you're interested in being a doctor, and you know so much about the human body already. Yeah, you're going to have an easy time of it when you get to medical school. You're such a good student. Tell me what it is you like best about school.
Something I like about school the most is how there's actual clubs that you can join, and most of the clubs I actually enjoy, because I joined one of them, the Instrumental Music Club, and I do violin inside of that club.
So you play the violin now. And it looks like a difficult instrument. And you know, you mentioned a good point. It's not just the classes, it's the extracurriculars, the things that can tap into talents and can expose you to new things you might never have thought of before. So yeah, you're doing everything right. You're growing up the right way and getting all kinds of great experiences. And I love your enthusiasm. I love your enthusiasm. If you're ready, here we go. All right, here we go. First question, and let's get physical, 5 points. Leonids, Perseids, Geminids are all celestial showers featuring these celestial objects.
I think it's meteors, because aren't there meteor showers?
That's it. Those are all different kinds of meteor showers. That's the way to start out. 5 more points. For 15 points, there's a brand of soap called Ivory. Ivory's been around a long time, and it used to advertise itself as being 99 and 44/100% pure. It's the only soap that floats, because when they make it, they whip it and fill it with air bubbles. It floats because it is less what than water?
Less dense.
Less dense is correct. Good answer. All right, for 25 points, I have a visual for you. You know, if you look up in the sky and you see an airplane and you see those white streaks behind it, those white streaks are called contrails, C-O-N-T-R-A-I-L-S. They call them contrails because what process produces those streams?
Is it
No, like.
friction?
Well,
Say it
no.
again?
Is it friction?
Well, no, it might be a force. Friction, like. Wait, can you repeat the question?
I can. Those streams coming out of the back of the jet are called contrails, C-O-N-T-R-A-I-L-S. They're called contrails because what process produces those streams?
I think probably combusting. I don't know.
Wait, I think it might be drag because, like.
Wait, these are all good answers. Correct answer is condensation. Condensation. All right, that water forms as it comes out and hits that cold air. All right, let's go to the potpourri questions for 5 points. Because they're way too heavy and not the least bit aerodynamic, this team of Santa's ungulates certainly can't fly.
Reindeer.
Reindeer is right. Rudolph notwithstanding. Let's go to 15 points in potpourri. Scientists looking for sunken ships like the Titanic rely on this, the same force used by bats to locate mosquitoes in the night.
Sonar?
Sonar is right. For 25 points, under potpourri, it was amazing to watch. Golfer John Rahm did the near impossible recently. He hit a golf ball that skipped across a pond, went onto the green, and went into the cup for a hole-in-one. Skipping golf balls, just like skipping stones, is possible only if the ball or the stone has enough speed which keeps it going. That's called conservation of what M-initialed word?
So, like, you guys got anything?
Maybe it's matter.
Only possible if the stone or the ball has enough speed which keeps it going. Called the conservation of what M-initialed word?
Okay, so, like, David, do you have anything?
I think maybe matter, but I'm not sure if that'll make sense.
Say it again, David.
I think maybe matter, but that won't make
Not
sense.
matter. We're talking about momentum, the conservation of momentum. The momentum has to keep up, otherwise it's going to sink into the water. Let's go to the Dateline questions. When describing the seriousness of the COVID pandemic, doctors divide the number of COVID tests that turn positive by the total number of tests performed to get what they call the positivity what?
Positive.
Talk about it all the time on television. It keeps going up and down, 7.8, 6.1, 1.5. The lower the better. The positivity what?
Positivity rate.
Rate is correct. Next, for 15 points in Dateline. A Frenchman by the name of Foucault had a famous pendulum, a copy of which swung at the Smithsonian Museum for many, many years. As the pendulum swung back and forth, there was a ring of little pegs, and all during the course of the day as it swung, the pegs were knocked down one by one in the circle, indicating that the Earth does this every day.
Spin.
It rotates.
It rotates, yes it does, on its axis. Last question for you in the game, worth 25 points. The chemical element with the symbol capital C, small m, is named for what famous couple, both of whom won Nobel Prizes?
So, you guys got anything?
I've already spotted you the first letter, capital C, small m.
I think it's carbon monoxide.
No. We're talking about people here.
Yeah, so, like,
Chemical element C, big C, small m, is named for a famous couple, both of whom won a Nobel Prize.
so, Ogama, you got anything?
Correct name was Curie, Marie Curie and Pierre Curie, and the element is curium, curium. Might have been a tough question, but you still, because of that super first round, you still end this game with 220 points. Congratulations, guys. You've got a smile about that. Welcome back, everybody. What a game this was. It was competitive, and you could see that there are no losers on Science Bowl. All of these young people are winners. They demonstrated that amply today. And before we announce the final score, our two coaches here, congratulations to Mr. Putiri and Miss Lynch. And Miss Lynch, I know you've brought three people, some VIPs from Templeton. Can you tell us who they are?
Yes, our amazing principal, Miss Ebony Harris, equally amazing vice principals, Miss Robinson and Miss Piper.
That's wonderful. And Mr. Putiri, were there alternates on the team that we didn't just see?
No, you got to see everyone today.
Got to see everybody. And Miss Lynch, were there alternates that we didn't see?
Yeah, we have Janaya here, Janaya Holmes, and Jennifer Vargas.
Nice to have you here today. You're an integral part of the team. All right, the final score, it is close. With 220 points, the team from Templeton, from Montpelier, 250 points. Montpelier, congratulations by 30 points. You are today's winner. That means you win this playoff game, and we will see you in the semifinals on April the 7th. Congratulations to everybody. Let's give everybody out there a round of applause. Everybody made this happen. The coaches, the principals, the vice principals, especially all of you guys who've been practicing for so many weeks, all by yourselves in your homes. And from my personal perspective, Mr. Rodney Jones, who's working out there and keeping the score, and the man who makes this really happen, I'm just the front man, Chuck Wolf, who makes all of this happen and edits so beautifully. So when you see this, it is a big group project. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Bye-bye, everyone. I'm Dave Zare.